Welcome back, fellow armchair generals. This is Gamer 1745 with my continuing playthrough of Hearts of Iron 4, and in this series we're looking at World Ablaze, playing as Italy, seeing how it does as a mod. I do like Uncharted's work. Have some disagreements, like sort of as at the end of that is that he's done this province here in whatever Mercer Maruth area, this specific city, to level 3 fortification. I don't think so. I just don't think so. Level 3. I know there were some defenses here, but it just seems awfully much. Seems awfully much. Okay, we have decisions available. Anything I want to do now? Cheat on treaties? No, not particularly at the moment. Establish. So we could establish this. Establish Italian East Africa. Light infantry. No, I don't know. I don't know. We can do this a bit later. I am pulling out a bunch of my forces for use in other theaters. We don't need to keep using them here. Right, let's look over here. We're doing military modernization, which of course is good. We can see about Libyan infrastructure, Libyan refineries, which will get us some oil. We went this route, so we can't do that. Develop the steelworks, just sort of looking at planning. Okay, do we have a Ethiopian war logistics? Develop Ethiopia. East Africa exist. I guess this is 70 days if we want to exploit Ethiopia. East Africa. Well, maybe we should. I don't know. Just civilian infrastructure, which won't get them much. Okay, 2 military, 1 military, so 3 military factories. So therefore, we would send them, create them some force. They'd have some military, 3 military factories. I don't know. Might be better to do it earlier than later, but I don't know. Let's continue our war in Spain. By the way, I helped test some of the Italy tree all the way through. Very good harmony. A lot of economic fatigue. Yeah, that's my major point of disagreement with place, crumbling economy, exploit, significantly decreases economic fatigue by 5%. I disagree with the economic fatigue that he's looking at. Strategically bomb the forts to take care of them. Yeah, you could. I just don't know that I want to put that effort into bombing them, or think I should have to do that, because I don't think they're realistic. Something like Madrid was sort of fortified, if you will, during the Spanish Civil War. Maybe not with sort of what we think of as modern proper bunkers, but turning city blocks and whatnot. So, I don't know, Harmony, on here, you can see what the path that I've taken here. We went down this path for Italy. I don't know if this is the best one. We could do the Denali Steelworks. I don't know what, you can see here, leave the League of Nations, which we might want to do soon, in line with German, but we've done that now. For the here, nationalized steel industries, massively decreases. Okay, so okay, well, what is our current economic? Okay, so we're at 68 stability factories. Okay, so now okay, I didn't know that we had to do that before Germany gets Austria, which is still should be a ways away if it's the historical date. Okay. I don't know, and I mean this because I'm not anywhere near the, and I don't know if I'm an expert on National Socialist Germany, but I know the most about it of the European nations at this time. I don't know that there was significant economic fatigue because what Mussolini was doing in Italy. I don't know that there was. I haven't talked to him in years, but I did have a fascist advisor. I don't know that he was a fascist, but he was an Italian who studied fascist Italy on some of the stuff and really helped me with my mod development in the Italian area. So I don't know that there was what we would call economic fatigue with what Mussolini was doing leading up to World War II. Okay. I don't know that there was. Now, maybe somebody out there will go, oh, there was, and give reasons or point to some article. So I don't know if somebody has an article, somebody's watching this now or later and has an article or a book that they want to talk about the Italian economy and go, yeah, there was all this kind of, whether you call it fatigue or whatever, disruption, whatever the language you want to use, but what fatigue is setting up and doing, whether there was the fatigue going on. And what part of it is sort of, is government spending on, military development that is not economically, doesn't benefit, like adding new, commercial trucks to the economy, or building something that civilians are going to spend their money on. It's, government spending on government things. Is sort of the basic idea of it, at least as I understand it. Some, could do. Okay, yeah, okay. He did have that horrible lira to the British pound rate. Okay, now this is one thing, and I've talked to several of them, including Uncharted, in the past. Because yeah, he's been on. I played War Thunder with him. I know Uncharted. Uncharted is a great guy. I just have, and not that he's 100% wrong. I just have disagreements on the emphasis levels of some of these things. Germany had plenty of German money. Plenty of German money. Now, Germany had recently gone through 2 phases after World War I of hyperinflation, 2 sets of them. So they knew about government spending, printing too much money and have hyperinflation. They knew about that. They knew what that could happen. They specifically, including Schacht, Helmar Schacht, who until the sort of leading up to the war, he's still in charge of the banks, the German Reich Bank, though he had left the main economic minister job, but he's still in charge of that. He understands money and economies. He's very good. He is the best leading German personality. He wasn't really a Nazi. He was there before the Nazis come in power. He stays for a while, sort of loses out to Goering a bit, but stays in charge of the Reich Bank until I think it was something going on in Czechoslovakia or whatever that he finally just quits over and just goes into retirement. He's not a Nazi. He's a German patriot, if you will, or whatever. German nationalist, maybe, however you want to describe it. And so, and so again, like I say, not Nazi, but he understands economies best. But he doesn't know that they're planning a major war. So some of his decisions in Germany are based upon what is good economically, not what is good preparing the nation for a coming major war. He's all good with the idea, we need to rebuild the German army to defend Germany, but he's not like, we want to go conquer the world and mass kill people. He's not in on all of that. And so Germany has plenty of German money, effectively, and through Schacht and some others know how to keep hyperinflation from happening. Okay, so meaning not have wild government spending. What Germany doesn't have is a good foreign exchange values. They're not having a big income, British pounds, French francs, American dollars. Well, actually, they do sort of have American dollars sort of cycling through their system, but that's another story. They don't have a lot of foreign exchange. They don't have a lot of gold reserves to exchange. And Britain isn't buying a bunch of German products, so they're not interested in German marks, Reichsmarks. So, somebody goes, I want to buy a bunch of radios made in Britain. Oh, I got these bucketfuls of Reichsmarks. Well, what good is that going to do to me? Because there's nothing in Germany I want to buy. And there are currency controls and they can't just run to the bank and exchange that for British pounds because Germany is controlling the exchanges. And there's, the banks go, well, we don't want all these German Reichsmarks because we don't know anybody who wants to buy anything in Germany. And it's only really good for the money if you want to buy something in Germany. So, some tourists are going, British tourists are going, so we'll take some of your Reichsmarks, but, we don't need buckets full of them, to buy whatever. So Germany has a serious problem with foreign exchange. And I don't specifically know about the lira to British pound rate. But that type of thing only affects if you're doing international exchanges. So if Italy is trying to buy something from Britain or some other country that's willing to accept British pounds and they want to exchange liras for pounds, it absolutely affects them. Okay, so there is that. But, you can easily go to hyperinflation. Thanks, Arno. So, the economic fatigue. This is what I'm just looking at here. Okay, so now have I, and not that the mod shouldn't, because you might go, Italy didn't develop the Denali steelworks, but they could have. And they should have. Maybe they could. I've never even heard of this until this mod. So I'm telling you, I'm not, I've never heard of Denali Steelworks. I'm not saying it doesn't exist or anything. I hadn't heard of it. So again, I've heard of some of the stuff. I know bits and pieces about this. I don't know everything. So don't take this as somebody who thinks he knows everything and then telling you're full of shit. And I'm wrong. I don't know. Okay, so develop Denali Steelworks. I'm presuming it existed. Did Italy develop Denali Steelworks, or is it something they could have done? Reasonably could have done. Okay, either one is a good thing to add here. Either if they did, or if they could have or should have, here's your opportunity to do so. Perfectly fine, perfectly good. Okay, again, develop Sicily, develop these areas. I don't know if they developed Sicily and added 4 civilian factories. Mussolini locked up somewhere between, I don't know, probably 300 to 600 people that are believed to be, probably very much were, associated with the mafia down in Sicily, and just sort of without trial locked them up because no one would testify, so they just sort of created a prison camp, not a prisoner of war camp, not so much a concentration camp, but just a prison camp. Put him in prison just for being suspected of being mafioso. Now, it wasn't like, hey, yeah, he has a funny Italian mustache, he must be a mafia. No, it's people knew, but no one was going to testify. And so Mussolini just locks up these people down in Sicily and whatnot because they are mafia. Now, the U.S. government later on liberates these camps and lets them go in hopes and in reality, because they hate the fascists now because they've been locked up for a number of years, to help the Americans in occupation duties of all types, but of course they've unleashed the mafia and empowered the mafia to get back in control in southern Italy during their invasions, and because they're the collaborators with the Americans backed them, whatever, and the mafia gets back in control. And so the Americans really put the mafia back on the map in Italy, which I think they're still there because of what the Americans did. We can talk about whether you should just lock up people for suspicion or not, and an organized state, an organized alternative government, which is what I would call the mafia was in southern Italy, is a danger to the state. It isn't just criminals. It's an insurgency of a type. And you can't have to fight a proper insurgency, and I would put the mafia in Sicily and whatever as an insurgency. And it does sort of start as an insurgency against the sort of earlier Bourbon, the sort of foreign Bourbon rulers, more Spanish than French by that point, in there. So it is sort of a local resistance to foreign rulership in Italy. It's an insurgency movement, so you can't fight a strong insurgency with rules of evidence like we have normal court systems. So, yeah, we messed up with releasing the mafia back onto Italy. So, yeah, and they still have the problems today, and it's still sort of an insurgency, because if you testify, somebody's going to die. Whether it's you or your kids or your wife or your brother or whatever, it's a serious problem. So, as you can tell, I sort of kind of support, and I don't know in detail, maybe they overdid it, the fascists. Maybe they did it just the right amount. Maybe they didn't do it enough, but they were fighting some of these political prisoners that Mussolini, now there are some political types that just get killed because they're opposition. Somebody points a pistol in their face and shoots them and disappears, and they were opposition. There is some of that going on just because they were, and they weren't necessarily, radical communist insurgents or whatever going to take over. They were just opposition people to fascist rule that did get shot. I'm not saying the fascists were the good guys, but maybe in some cases they were the lesser of the bad guys, meaning there were worse bad guys going on in Italy, and the one level 5 bad guys takes out level 7 bad guys kind of thing. They're all bad guys, but sometimes you deal with the lesser of the bad guys because there's maybe ineffective in power, no good guys to deal with. That's the way the world works. Modern social justice warrior types and we should only deal with the good white hats out there in the world. Well, what if you can't find any in a part of the region that can be effective? Okay, so yeah. I do sort of kind of a bit defend some of the fascist state and what they were doing. I know that will be clipped maybe someday and taken out of context, but the world is messy. Right. And yes, the fascists end up being our, in Italy, our opponents, and we need to, take them out. All right. Okay. So I don't know the levels of economic fatigue for what was going on in Italy. I just don't know. Okay, so I don't know which one of these two is closest to what historically they did. I think I picked these just, I liked the path the best when I was examining them. Okay. So, did I push and do something here to create my 68% level of economic fatigue that is greater than what Mussolini faced? I don't know. Again, I'm not. This isn't like when I was going hard after Uncharted and World Ablaze for Germany, because I know that better. I don't know this well, but I have a suspicion that I wouldn't put it this high of economic fatigue going on, because I don't think there was. Again, note my language. I don't know. I don't think. I'm not sure. Those kind of things. Right. Okay. Now. Neighbor hurts you fatigue a lot as well. Okay. Okay, now, nationalize failing steel industries, nationalize failing weapons industries, nationalize failing chemical industries, nationalize failing banks. Okay, I don't know about banks. Honestly, I don't know about chemical industries. I do, well, because I didn't know about Denali steel, so I'm not sure about steel. But I do know that Italy never nationalized any of the weapons industries, period. And I believe they did not do any of the other industries. Mussolini's government, one, did not believe in nationalization of industries. Two, was unable to control the industries to the levels that they wanted to, because they were a corporate state. They were, and not necessarily corporate as in business. That's often people mistake the use of the term of corporate within the Italian fascist model. But corporations, and they look at these as corporations, not as business corporations, but as a body, as a corporation of a body, like a human body. You have some guys that are the brains of the corporation, but it could be sort of, I guess another term would be community. A modern term that they may use is the fascists look at communities. And it's the communities of, say, a factory town or whatever, and maybe part of a suburb of a thing, that you have a big industry and a lot of people work there. Some are the brains, some are the enforcers, the guards, some are the hard worker bees, some of the are the less, the skilled worker bees, and some of them are the people that run the restaurants right outside the factory that they go get lunch at, and some of the people are the garbage collectors that come by and pick up the garbage from the back of the factory and from the back of the restaurant. That's when we're saying corporatism with fascism is what we're talking about. And yes, part of it is the business corporation, but it's corporatism. It's the way the fascists look. They look at it as, I'm trying to explain my understanding of fascism, which is not, again, those that haven't watched my series are going to it, National Socialism that the Nazis of Hitler things, you can call other things National Socialist, but the National Socialism of Hitler's is not fascism, is not based on fascism, has some similar characteristics like ultranationalism. Both are socialistic in view, but they're not. Nazism isn't simply fascism plus racism. That's how it was explained to me in school. It is not that. They have a different way of looking at economies and society. My understanding of Italian fascism at this time is it's sort of this corporatism. And so they're nothing above the state, because the state is what represents the people. Okay? It's not that the state is supposed to be like the power that dominates the people. No, it's the power of the people is expressed through the state. So nothing should be above the state, meaning your personal interests should not come before the interests of the state. So you should get married and have children because it helps the society, the state. So they look at this kind of way. So don't have a social life that disrupts the good of the state, because it disrupts the good of the society, good of the people, and nothing should be above that. So you should conform to the needs of the state, because that is the needs of the people. That is their socialism that fascism sees. But it also understands that it's corporate is on a lower level. So Tuscany, what is good for Tuscany should do, so long as it doesn't hurt the good of all of Italy. So meaning if you set up the body corporation, if you will, of Tuscany, not just of Florence or Pisa or whatever in Tuscany, but we're talking about the Tuscan region here, it's its own sort of corporatism, meaning you need garbage collectors, you need railway workers, you need police, you need all these elements of the corporation, you need industry. Now, fascism doesn't want the other socialism of collective. They believe in, see, it is a collectivist ideology, because I'm saying it's corporate, but it's not collectively owned in the sense. Now, again, a corporation may sell public shares and people may own shares and get dividends from. We should probably to save. Well, you save it. Well, see, this makes me, because I know enough history and I know enough the ideology. When I see nationalize, I go, well, they didn't do that, so I shouldn't do this, because this is unhistorical. Now, I don't know, So when you use terms like nationalize, I think, oh, government takeover. They did not. The government wanted the industries, and this is why I know the weapons industries better, wanted them to build German models of tanks. Ensemble Fiat, which again, Harmony, you may have heard my rant about how Ensemble Fiat is a joint venture, not two different ones. When it comes to, where are we looking at? Here, you don't have Fiat and Ensemble Fiat as one. It's not two, it's one. When it comes to tanks, they're a joint venture. They set up a joint company that's Ensemble Fiat. The RIR. What is, please define the RIR for me. Maybe I've heard of it. I'm blanking on that, Harmony. But the government basically wants to have them build German models of tanks. And Ensemble Fiat goes, yeah, no, we'll design our own. And that's, we'll come up with our own. Partly it's, Istituto per la Ricostruzione Industriale. Okay, I don't know it. Sorry. I don't know Italy like I know Germany, but I know the industry basically tells the government to go stuff it. We're not going to try to copy German. We're not going to have German technical people come in and tell us how to run our business and effectively take over our industry. So how they saw it. And so they basically tell no. And so Mussolini and the fascists are walking this line between what they want to do in ideology, in the ideal of fascism, and the reality of Italy at the time. I almost said Germany, but Italy at the time. And Mussolini never gets fully in control. He is El Duce, but there's a king above him. So yeah, he's El Duce, but the army is loyal to the king. Yes, they put a lot of fascist units into the military that are loyal to El Duce, but the army as an institution is still loyal to the king. It was made to try to rescue, restructure, finance banks and private companies that went through bankruptcy during the Great Depression. Ended up owning a lot of it in the end. I don't know Italy like I know Germany. I mean, I know bits and pieces that I can talk with some level of authority on, or if you will, but I don't know that the story as well as maybe I should. I mean, I should know everything in the world that ever existed. Of course, I'd love to, but I don't, obviously. So no, I don't know Italy all that well, and I do know that in a way, in a functional way, the German state often sort of ends up owning a lot of businesses towards the end of the war. But that's not what Hitler wanted, because Hitler wants competition. Hitler, unlike Mussolini, Hitler wants not capitalist competition, but he wants institutional competition. So he wants. Let me get two examples here. Like Messerschmitt and Falkwolf, the two fighter companies, to both be trying to make better fighters than each other. He wants that sort of conflict between them. So he wants multiple companies competing with each other, multiple institutions, even government institutions, competing and clashing with each other to try to figure out the best and keep them strong. That is different ideologically than the sort of corporate social harmony that fascism wants to have within their society. And so it's really only because of the great pressures of the war and Speer that we'll say effectively, even though they may still technically be private companies in many cases, ends up controlling them. And when they're building some of their underground factories, even though they're bringing in workers from, specialist workers and slave labor from the various factories, and they may still have a factory label above the door of the underground, jet factory that Speer is building. It's effectively a government / SS run and owned business. So that is, but that is not what Hitler wants. That's sort of the pressures of the war. So yeah, it was a lot of research. It lasted until 2000, but it was getting more privatized. But it was getting more privatized. Yeah, so I don't know Italy well, and I'm taking your word, Harmony. I believe you're correct. So yeah, I look at that and I look at nationalize and I go, now save failing, okay, and so I look at these kind of things and I play from my understanding of history and what I should do. And sometimes there's bad cases for nationalizing something. Now, this would use 10 civilian factories for 60 days. 10 civilian factories for 60 days. Now, I have 35. Now, okay, so even if I have, which I have a lot of political power, well, we'll nationalize then. Well, that's 20. Okay, some of these are 10, so let's do the 10. We'll do chemical. Now, I have noted that you have not done any of the economic, well, yes, you do have economic development. Sorry, you do have economic development of Libya that they were doing down there in a fashion, because they were doing a lot of fourth shore development. Okay, let's get back to playing the game. Good to hear. And so, yeah, I just... Okay. Let's see, where do we want to... Okay, up here, Lombardy. And so next, after this one, I guess we should jump over here, leave League of Nations, and then do the German Alliance. 14 days. Okay. We can do that. We have the manpower. And yes, that's very appropriate that it should be done. But because again, and I don't know if Uncharted has ever taken the time to look at my mod for Hearts of Iron 3. Okay, so, wow, that's happening early. I don't think it was January 30th. It was much later. I'm pretty sure. I'm going off memory here. Despite our guarantees of independence of Austria, it was... okay, yeah. Gain base stability. Maybe we're too late, but that is awfully early. Now, okay, here is the thing, and like I have built, and I don't know all of watching, because I've got a lot of people that haven't been around Hearts of Iron 3. I built, I think, and well, people say, let me put it this way, people say a very good mod for Hearts of Iron 3 that focuses on Germany called Third Reich Events. Now, I have worked out with some of the other nations and had some advisors that helped me. And to get some of the stuff developed, and I mainly looked at Czechoslovakia, but an unreleased work that I'm slowly putting back into Hearts of Iron 3 is Germany's process of getting Anschluss. Now, for Anschluss to happen, okay. Here's the fault of this mod here. And again, I don't know how much research you guys have done. In January or February of January or February of 1936, in Venice, Mussolini signs the Three Powers Pact. That is an anti-German, anti-Nazi pact. It is signed between Italy, Austria, and Hungary. The Fatherland Front, what's his name? I'm forgetting. Head of the Fatherland Front, the Austrian fascist leader, because it was in Austria. The main fight was between fascism and National Socialism. It was not. I mean, because it was you're either going to be fascist or you were going to be a National Socialist. Those were the two. 70-day focus. It will fire on the date, I think. Hello, Ace. How you doing? Thank you, Arno. Always going to add to it. Your wiki. Oh, yes. Well, hi, Eric. Yeah. Yeah, Dolphus, that's right. Dolphus. Schischnig is the one who was shot earlier in, 1933. Dolphus is there. He signs it along with a representative, the foreign minister, I believe, of Hungary, signs the Three Powers Pact. Italy is, in 1936, because of what's happened earlier in the Saarland, and then about that time, with remilitarizing all of the Rhineland, Italy who has been in an alliance with England and France, even though it was fascist, it was allied with England and France, has become unsure of France's willing to fight if there's a conflict between Italy and Germany. And of course, Italy does not want to lose its former Austrian possessions to the Austrian-born leader of Germany. You can see how this is a problem for them. And so Mussolini looks and realizes that Austria makes a great buffer state, and Dolphus wants to, maintain his fascist support with the Fatherland Front in Austria. And I'm not sure exactly why Hungary wants to sign up a anti-German National Socialist alliance, but they do. Whether they think that's going to legitimize them because they're sort of illegitimate government and they want to get back pieces of their lost territory, whether they think by joining this it will help them, I don't know. But they get talked into it. And this is signed in the very beginning of 1936 as specifically directed at anti-German expansion to the south. So, if you're designing this mod right, you should have guarantee independence of Austria and Hungary by Italy. So if Germany does Anschluss, it goes to war. So what I worked on was, and what you see historically, was Hitler wooing Mussolini in that, no, I'm not going to take back Tyrol, I'm not going to take back Trieste, and hey, you remember your former allies that have embargoed you and whatnot over Ethiopia. I don't care about you taking Ethiopia or Albania or some other vague little place around the world. Don't really care, as long as you don't mess with German lands, whatever that may mean at different times. And so Hitler's, wooing, courting Mussolini, and it is only Mussolini's acceptance that allows, and there isn't necessarily a formal renunciation of the Three Powers Pact, but that is what allows Hitler to move in to Austria finally. So there really, really should be something from Germany that is showing up here to do that. It's a rework again in the DLCs too, so might fix some stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I sort of kind of think Black Ice does it right in that they ignore the paid DLCs and just deal with the sort of free rework of mechanics, shall we say, and just do your own stuff instead of relying upon Paradox to add some cool elements that then... Now, I'm not saying if they add something that's cool, then you don't sort of kind of add it to your mod, but yeah, that's sort of my thoughts on that. So not so much waiting for that. And just so that we have this. Oh, nuke bonuses, yeah. Yeah, I have not bought the latest DLC for Bulgaria and whatnot. I just haven't seen a need to do so, because I did not play the base game, and mostly I'm playing modded games that. So I hope your mod isn't expecting that I have the DLC that's the Battle for the Bosphorus DLC, the paid part. I have the free update part, but I did not get that because Black Ice doesn't require it, and I just hadn't felt a strong enough need to do it. Standardizing infrastructure, very nice. Okay. Now, $38. Yeah, let's do research speed bonus. Well, it's been going since 36, so... Hello. Oh boy, without spacing. Goncaloge, or whatever. I'm going to call you Goncal. Sorry if I... Hello. Just okay, Gonk. Okay, Gonk. I can do that. So you don't need it. Good to hear. Yeah, you know, it came out. I saw what it was. I go, yeah. I'm play so much Hearts of Iron, but do I really need it yet? I'll wait for a sale maybe, or if I really need it for something. Good to hear. Obviously, I'm getting free updates, but when they've bigger, more important ones, I have bought. I got the Field Marshals edition when it, or you know, or whatever, you know, expansion pack stuff. So I was getting all of the ones for free at start, and then, you know, well, not free, I prepaid for them. So I don't want to say free, but prepaid for them. And then I bought one of the one major one after that. Getting Lend-Lease. I don't think I'm sending any Lend-Lease to Spain because I'm trying to do that, but I have 4 divisions operating in here. It's going to hopefully turn the tide. Oh, is commies getting? I don't know if they're getting Lend-Lease. Trying to push across here to create a pocket to cut off these forces. I had been pushing, try to take the rest of Madrid here, the Madrid airport area, but decided no, we're going to push here and cut them off. Well, we're going to make sure the we in the Condor Legion over here, the 8th Panzer Grenadier Division. Don't know why it's called that when there's no panzers and grenadiers in it, but whatever. You're going to make sure the nationalists win. We've already got Spain. We're pushing into here. The Army Modernization decisions. Okay, yes, I'm probably forgetting those. Army Reform. Okay. Good. And Air Force Reform. You know, I'm not terribly in favor of this type of thing. I know a lot of players, and myself included, have gotten sort of annoyed at pop-ups popping in the center, and they overreacted by moving the stuff over here, and I'm not used to seeing it. Part of the problem with the pop-ups, because I was last night playing Imperator Rome, I think a pretty damn good game. There's still problems with it, but pretty damn good game. Is that I'm going to click on something here, and then something pops up immediately on top of it. And what did I just click? I want the pop-ups to sort of not pop up in the center, but some of these notification things just for me get lost here. Now, do we have any generals I can give better traits to use up some of this command? Okay, he looks like he's fully... No, he's not ready yet. Angry guy there. Let's... Okay. We're going to create a unit just of these guys. Old guard, cautious. Yeah, I mean, they're all going to be war hero, career officer, politically connected. He's looking like maybe the good choice here because he's an infantry officer, and we're talking about infantry divisions. Yeah, he's politically connected, but so he's gonna not get experience gain so quickly. Put that level 3. So yeah, we'll go with you. All right, let's create a higher command here. Pietro Bagdalio or Emilio di Bono. He looks way too old. Maybe not that old, just a white beard. But guard cautious, plenty thinking. Inflexible strategists. These are, yeah, probably rather decent traits for them. Okay. Yeah, I guess he's going to control. Now we're going to see about creating. No, shift is what I want to be doing. Let's create a mountain division command here. Army reassignment duration, promotion cost. Do we have a fascist loyalist? Yeah. Taglio Balbo, who may or may not have been assassinated by Mussolini. I don't think so. I think it was just purely a an oopsie with anti-aircraft guns, but people thought enough at the time that he might have been, because he was maybe getting more popular than Mussolini. Okay, we don't really have a proper mountain general. I think that's a mistake for Italy, because Italy definitely had experienced mountain officers and leaders. Okay, we're going to also create here a Fascist Command. And we're going to put on our Fascist Loyalist in command of that. Now we'll wait till the Spanish Civil War is over and deal with some of that. Yeah, I'm not saying you should be good generals, but just sort of the idea that some should, because they were a lot of experience in mountain warfare, there should be a few with that type of trait. Casualties in the war so far. Yeah, which one is it? Country. Wars, yeah, okay, Spanish Civil War. Okay, we can see this here. 90,000 versus almost 300,000 losses. Oh, 100,000 versus almost 300,000 losses. Currently in the Spanish Civil War. Hard-code, yeah, there's a lot of hard-coded stuff that's bad. We tried to make it better. Yeah, these are good. Yeah, I'm not saying the Italian again, I'm not terribly great expert on Italian generals. I could pull out my book on the Iron Arm and name get a few that I'd have to look through it a bit, but get a few that were armored officers, armored generals that have some training and experience. Not that they would be good at it, but probably should have the trait. And I'm sure, because again, Italy is quite mountainous, and there was officers experienced in mountain warfare, whether they, and remember, there were Alpini divisions in the Italian army. Alpine divisions, but Alpini here, Alpina, whatever. There were these, but basically all infantry divisions had mountain guns and were expected to fight in the mountains. They just weren't the elites and best trained at doing it. So you have a lot of the ones that fought the Germans and Austrians along the Austrian border during World War I, and there has to be some that should come out and have mountain warfare traits just to fight better there. They still may be sucky generals, you know, skill level 1, maybe even skill level 0, I don't know, but some should have that trait to deal with that kind of thing. But yeah, going to use your generals that are in, yeah, we're going to use those, but for some of the stuff in North Africa, I'm thinking down here. How's the war in China going? We'll take a quick look. Yeah, Japan is doing good. They've obviously did a nice naval invasion here. Earlier on, they did a naval invasion out here and pushed in through here. So yeah, they're doing, you know, fairly well invasion type stuff, fairly smart. You have an Alpini focus, yeah. I did see that at one point here. I don't know. Yeah, I have not searched my way through. Obviously, I haven't played through yet, but I haven't even searched my way through all of the continued development. Now that we're getting some of these things, and I really do appreciate that not all of these are 70 days. Oh, they rebuild the Alpini, right? Some of these are 70 days, and I don't know if they should be, because quite honestly, look, I talked to Podcat now years ago about the national focuses. And because I had worked so much with events and creating event change, just those of you who again haven't played it, I don't like the idea of having one event or one national focus, build West Wall, being hit. Magic West Wall appears. Yeah, there's maybe some costs, but do it. And yeah, I know there's some, upgrade the West Wall. Yeah, okay. And then upgrade it a second time. Yeah, okay. But I've looked into the history of the development of it, and it takes about 3 years to build it. Or they're building it strong for 3 years. And they expand it all the way up to here. And part of the program expands deep into here of anti-aircraft, primarily. Defenses, around anything worth, putting heavy anti-aircraft around, whether it's factories, just cities, or other such stuff. Okay, I like event change. That you start down, you can have not just that, an event happens and something happens, but also you can go, do you want to expand, after you've done it? And it was explained to me, and Podcat explained to me, the national focus was one of the reasons they used this, instead of doing it the way I wanted to do it, was that so somebody can look here and go, I want this. I want the extra research slot. Well, how do I get there? Well, here's a roadmap. And so that, to me, I understood, and it clicked for me what really this should be. Not the way necessarily that Paradox is using it, but the way it should be, is that you should go, okay, do you want to develop Italian highways? Well, because you want to get to here. Okay, you hit yes. And however long it takes, you may have some of these national focus that take a long time. But a lot of them should just sort of happen. But let's say develop Sicily. Not that I'm concerned about this thing, but just say instead of these, it may all be 10 days. But the idea that develop Sicily can only happen in, say, March 38. So you might be able to pop through some of these, time-wise, so may not be happening, waiting for the next one to happen, is that some things, now some of them might have, just have different preconditions, but might not be able to happen before a certain date. So yes, choices is not the idea that I think I should be able to have all of this, partially because some of these are mutually exclusive with each other, go to war with Italy or go to war with Germany, or go to war or befriend Germany. You can't do both, but should I be worried about 35 days to leave the League of Nations? Huh? Why? Huh? What? It should be, now maybe they're either a date for some historical reason, or it should be, hey, yeah, you want to befriend Yugoslavia, then you get out of the League of Nations. Or, now, I would have befriend Yugoslavia reduce economic fatigue, because there was significant, once, just again, from my research, is once they put the embargoes against Italy for the invasion of Ethiopia, Italy starts buying a lot of food products, wheat and whatnot, from Yugoslavia in some commercial agreements. And that's sort of befriend Yugoslavia. So that should help the Italian economy with its food needs during this period. So that might be a good way to reduce in future. Have a thing that reduces your economic fatigue is defend Yugoslavia. So I can readily, I could see this as just simply a standalone over here. Hey, leave whenever you want because you're fascist Italy and you say goodbye. Or, hey, again, there may be, well, because of historical precedent, they needed to establish these other things, and then you get to go. 35 days. Why the time? I don't know. I mean, there may be good reason, but maybe just like that. Now, befriend Germany, or alliance with Germany, requires leaving the League of Nations. That's fine as a prerequisite. It doesn't quite yet go to Pact of Steel, of course, but have more prerequisites, and that's why I like 14 days or something. It's just a little bit of time. It's worth doing. Some of these are major projects. I get, major, production, represented, so it should take time. But some of these should be just sort of days fast, but maybe whether date and or other conditions need to prevail to do them. Okay, yes, there's an Ethiopian-Italian veteran that created a theory of war movement for the Italian cars, tanks warfare, although he died in North Africa in 42 during the ironic attack where he used mass assaults like it was World War One. How interesting. Yes, I guess Italy never let you down your expectations yet. Yeah, I think we need to redo it times again. Yeah, it's just, there's our duty focus is my favorite focus in the tree. Yeah, okay. Let's just see. Where, right, left, center, where are we looking for that? I know you're much more familiar with this, and that's one of the reasons I'm playing this, is just to learn about it and show this off to people. I know in BI, when you pick the West Wall fort, it does cost you civ factories for period. Well, you see, now what you can do is you can under the Alpini. Okay, that gets me here. Okay, revive the Arditi completion. Water training. Okay, yeah. Okay, these are the commando, sort of like the Decima X. Is that what this is sort of like? That, and so my idea with doing a national focus doesn't necessarily mean that you don't. Now, the way I worked a lot of stuff is, and now I wanted to use the sort of pop-up method and not this method here, but when you complete a national focus, because of the roadmap, and so I often would shrink the times down in the work that I did, again, unreleased, but and no longer works with more modern versions of the game, but would then pop up something like this, or a pop-up that then would set conditions that would cost you, 5 civ factories for 100 days. So there's still the cost involved. It's just the national focus wouldn't necessarily take a lot of time or have other costs, but it would then fire or trigger the availability of, or immediate happening of, other events and decisions to make that they would then have the costs. So you may be spending a bunch of civ factories and repairing your industry and whatnot here, but you're able to also progress through, political development. So it's not like, hey, you just go click, 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 and these all instantly happen. It's like click, and then this one has to wait for, the next one can only happen, 300 days later than this one. So you can't rush them. I mean, they all take 5 days to happen, but this one has to happen 300 days after the first one. So it's like every 300 days you get to pick one, maybe, just in theory, but it only takes 5 days to complete the focus. So that's the way I envisioned in reworking the national focus tree is definitely not the standard 70 days completion time going through, but still give the player a roadmap that then fires other things. So it's not necessarily the choice between developing this or befriending Germany. It's, do you want to add 3 steel mills for some other cost or something? And that's how I worked it up. We have Decima X as well. Yeah, sorry, I have not looked through all of this. Is that more into the Navy? Yeah. There we go. See, I do know a bit about Italy, but not, like I say, I'm not an expert at all. I wish we could multitask focus. Well, the whole idea was, Johan said, this is the national focus of the nation, so you can't do more than one at a time. Well, okay, I disagree with that, and that's why I say, like, if you were fortification, improve the Alpine line, improve the Gothic line. Gothic is down in central, more for southern invasion, the Alpine. And of course, there were French borders already on forts on the borders. It should just be adding to them. But, you know, because they were built beforehand. Even though they were allies, they still had fortifications. And so it's, you know, and a lot of times I would have it, oh yeah, improve the fort. So the way I did it for the West Wall, which is similar to this, is, yeah, you get this, pop, takes however many days to do it, but then nothing. You may have an effect like, requires more civilian factories, civilian factory, takes away civ factories from doing other things. And then a year later, boom, you get your West Wall. So you may start your West Wall in 37, and you get stage 1 built in 38. And you want to continue building in the beginning of 38. Okay. And, so you do that second event or whatever because you started the national focus tree. Or if you want to add a second national focus for strengthen West Wall. Okay. You do it. Okay, boom. But there's nothing happens, in the idea no forts appear. It's like, okay, yeah, well, at the beginning of 39 now, you'll get your forts. Because, you say, this will take, 365 days to complete. So that you started it in the beginning of 38. By the beginning of 39 or whatever, roughly, you'll have stage 2 of West Wall. That's the way I developed using national focuses. So instead of press button, wait 70 days, pop, get results, it was press button to plan your path out. And some of these things might take a year, might take a day, might take 3 months, whatever it is. And setting either conditions of other national focuses or control. You can't fire the national focus to develop Albania until you own Albania. And if you don't have an event or whatever to take Albania until 1938 or 1939 or whatever, obviously you can't do it early. You can't rush that. And so that kind of thing. And, there are choices. You can't, it's not pick choice, get all that you want. It's more the idea of that they don't necessarily, things that aren't in conflict don't do it. And also some of the times with some of the stuff you just simply go, oh yeah, well, to do Denali Steelworks here, you have to have available, say, 3 civ factories available, here, not doing consumer goods. You have to have 3 civ factories, and then we're going to reduce it by 3 civ factories. And so you can't, even if you have 20 things that improve the economy, you can't do them all at once because the requirement is you have enough civ factories to do it, and if you hit more than 2 or 3, you don't have enough civ factories, so it requires you to take your time to do it because it pulls civ factories out. So it's, might be a linear progression, might be a horizontal thing, like improve the army or improve that, but they each take civ factories, so you still have to make your choice. But it's not necessarily a choice on the countdown clock to war. It's more of a choice on, do you want to build up the Navy or build up the Air Force kind of thing. That's how I would do it. And it's sort of like multitasking the national focuses, but not exactly multitasking the national focuses. Sort of to Eric's point. Hey, Eric, if you want to pop a link into your Twitch channel, people want to follow it. You know, I'll obviously open a new window, people, if you want to. He's a pretty good streamer. He does good. Eric does good 3D models, and as well as, you know, real physical models too. And sometimes makes those live on stream and whatnot. Yep, there you go. So, if you're watching, go ahead and follow that and follow his channel so when he streams. Oil processing, better battlefield. Okay, so we've got that. Yeah, we'll do this. I just am an infrastructure player, and we were over, I think, here. Okay, we pushed into here, so that means we should now be able to do defense and depth. Recovery rate, defense, organization, delay, out of supply, max entrenchment. I guess I like elastic better. Sure thing, Arno. Thanks so much. The Proxy War. Oh, cool. Eric is developing a wiki that alternative history based around Norway and a war with Norway versus Sweden. So you got to understand, there's no real difference between Norwegians and Swedes, except for when are called Norwegians and when they're called Swedes. And the Norwegians resent that there's this nation called Sweden that's just like them on the other side of the mountain. So the Norwegians want to go to war with them. It's a weird thing, but it's, you know, yeah, okay, they have mountains, and Sweden mostly lives on flat plains, so they have the benefit of living on flat plains instead of living on the side of a mountain. But yeah, you know, they're sort of jealous of Sweden, and, you know. This looks good too. Defense, recovery rate. Well, we're probably going to lose that, so yeah, let's do more organization and... what's it not letting me do this for? Oh, what? I thought... Okay, Tier 2 becomes above Tier 1 doctrine has been completed, and/or Tier 1 doctrine is complete. Well, I thought it was just for here? Oh, we gotta do this over here before we come down here? I thought it was one straight down column. Okay, well... Okay, well, let's do this. That sucks. Remember, shift click. Oh, it works there too? Okay, yeah, wasn't even thinking. It's 2 out of 3 needed. Oh, okay, well then, okay, that's good to know. Let's maybe cancel this. Or switch it, I should say. Yeah, let's go. Let's switch to here. Yes, 0 progress. I know. Okay, it's 2 out of 3. I just sort of presumed that it was, and I did read that quickly, that it was just simply, you know, complete the infantry tree, you got it down to the other infantry tree. Yeah, but whatever. Get some more military factories going. And I do definitely recommend World Ablaze for those who don't want the, whether you want to call it added detail or added complications of the level of whatever capitulates. Okay. Black Ice, then I would say World Ablaze is it. But I still currently like, though I rage quit at times on Black Ice 2, on the Solution of Austria, which we did not get our German alliance before. Okay, well, didn't quite work out as I hoped. Now let's go to there. No. To there, to there. There we go. No, we're gonna change this again. Keep coming to here, go to there. It would be helpful to have a notification somewhere, big bold letters somewhere come up and say, yes, it would be really, really good that you, well, now that they're there, we don't really want to go to there. I want to go to there, but they're delaying us. Damn, oh well. That you should get that done before 38. And Germany getting, this is awfully, I think it was a little later than March. I don't remember the date. Vanslush. League of Nations. I don't know if this will help or not, but we'll try it. Look at this political power. It's only 14 days. Just the German is just standing around doing nothing. Hi, German. You're helping, aren't you? You're special. You're helping. Okay, we're now aligned with German politics. Pact of Steel, maybe not yet. Albanian occupation. See, I think I'd rather have Denali Steelworks than an Albanian occupation. Just looking through my current fighter contracts, general contracts. Like some of these things here that I maybe should pursue a little faster. Get down in here. Yeah, we'll just do general contracts, I think. Yeah, we'll do that. This guy get reorganized up a bit. Active faction request. Okay, should we do that before the Pact of Steel, or will that... get bypassed? Yeah, remember we have a Finland tree for reasons. Okay, not quite sure, but yeah, I guess we'll join their faction. That was the plan anyways, ultimately. Because alternative history is fun to play. I really like playing Kaiserreich. Not my favorite mod, but I really do like it. But my real test of anything is to play basically a historical game and see how well the mod does with that. What is our Air Force doing? Is that where our Air Force is? No. Our Air Force is over here. And these guys are completely, and I wanted to try to send them home, but they don't have any aircraft. So, well, these guys are also entirely out of aircraft. Wow. Wow. Probably nothing to do. Well, I don't know, entirely nothing to do, but somewhat nothing to do. 1.5 aircraft a month? Really, people? Really? It's... Yeah, well, we have more factories, yes. I guess we'll step this up to 2 factories. And it's still about 1.5. Favorite mod, big mod is Black Ice. This is coming in below that, maybe second to it. Does some things maybe a bit better. Probably has a better AI. Economic fatigue is hurting my production. Yeah, again, that's something I'm not happy about. You see, and again, I know with a lot of Hearts of Iron 4 players, and mod developers have not come out of the Hearts of Iron scene and have not Hearts of Iron 3 modding scene and have not played Black Ice for Hearts of Iron 3. It is an excellent mod. It is still better than anything done for Hearts of Iron 4. Okay, so you know if you're playing a Hearts of Iron 4 World War II game, you're playing a second-rate grand strategy game for World War II. Hearts of Iron 3 Black Ice is still the best, people. Is still the best. There's good yeah, it's a bit bloated. So if you don't want the bloated Black Ice, check out World Ablaze. Most definitely. Okay. Now, what they did particularly for Germany, and it is just for Germany, is deal with, because they don't have a distinction between military and civilian ICs in Hearts of Iron 3. And because people could, and were spamming out, just building ICs for years and years, and then 39 shows up and then start building everything else, and just have so many ICs and just cranked out the the products, whether it's aircraft, battleships, because they don't have shipyards either, so there's no definition there. But battleships, tanks, infantry units, whatever, just cranked everything out. So what the mod developers did do, and I did agree with, is for the different years, they put caps on ICs. And if you go more than whatever IC level it is for that year, you get, is in essence, you get a, what would equivalent of economic fatigue would be. It's done a bit differently, but you get that. And so that are sort of, basically it's dealing with hyperinflation and whatnot. They don't use the term economic fatigue, but it's sort of the equivalent, and they deal, because it's a different game and it's deal with it differently. So if you go over a certain amount of ICs in 36, and then it's a larger number in 37, and it's a larger number in 38. The 38 and 39 are the same. Now, once you get to the war in 1940, you can build as many ICs as you want, but you're presumably in the middle of the war, so you're also building tanks and aircraft and whatnot. And you go over there. And you have different, sort of total war economy versus partial mobility. They have that too going on. And so that is how they deal with it. And so if the game is set up, and this is where I would agree, is that and I don't know that Italy would be able to do it, but say somebody like Germany, if they just completely just start spamming out like all of 19, we're able to spam out so many military ICs that just overpowers the situation, then yes, I would agree if they could. But because things are split between I guess you could convert these all back to civilian ICs. I don't know if can you convert? I never tried converting naval dockyards back to civilian ICs or something, but convert them all back and then just spam out and then convert back the other way. If there was a gamey way to overheat your economy way too much, then yeah. But I don't right now see for most of these nations that I'm building too many military ICs that I'm overheating my economy. This is why I just don't agree with this, because of this sort of balancing out between consumer good needs, because part of it should just be how much consumer goods, so it slows up your production of more military ICs, so you don't have 4 factories building bombers, you just have 1 factory. But I don't see why my economic fatigue disrupts my 1 factory building bombers. Yeah, this is what I just disagree. Quite honestly, if there was an easy way for me to mod out economic fatigue entirely out of the game, I would do so in a heartbeat and never go back to it, never play a version without it. That is one of my major hangups with this. And I know Uncharted just disagrees with me, and that's fine. It's his mod. My ideas are not controlling, and I do understand that. But they're still what I think is the better function here. Because it is really disheartening for players, and they don't always understand. You can explain to me, and okay, that why I'm only building, well, now almost 2. And I also dislike how long this takes to get up there when you add it, and that it can take so long at times to get to more reasonable production levels. But I'm building 3 fighters a month, almost 4. Yay! Out of 2 factories. Is that what hit? Is that okay? Here's your no longer affects the diverted fighter production. Okay, is a mod doing well or not? What roughly was Italy's fighter production per month in 1938 in a peacetime Italy? Okay, what was it now? And am I over spamming something else? Now we've already made it so the game I can't over spam ships, partially because of the numbers of slots, partially numbers of shipyards. Okay, so shipyards are taken out of it, so I can whatever. And then Now, does one fighter here equal one fighter in reality, or is one fighter equaling 10 fighters in reality? You know, okay. So if your mod and or game is designed that, well, yeah, instead of having 500 fighters, we just want you to have 50 fighters, and they represent the 500. Okay, fine, you know. But that needs to be clearly defined for me. That just because of game mechanics. And it's clear in some cases, because we can look, let's just click over here. Here, a division has more than 700 rifles. I mean, they call it infantry equipment because they're including helmets and boots and whatever. But obviously, a division has more than 700 rifles. Depending on, let's look at this template. Maybe it only has 7,000, so maybe this is, you know, though that would be, well, I don't know what one of these CCN divisions exactly had manpower-wise, but let's even say this is a 10-to-1. So, the, you know, 3,000 machine guns, 7,000 rifles. Okay. And this doesn't, definitely, they did not have 600 artillery pieces. This is probably more 1-for-1 in the game. You know, and I don't like that, but okay if that's the way, you know, meaning either everything should be a percentage based on it, so I should have like 6 artillery pieces, fine, you know, if we're doing, you know, 10% strength, or just go, hey, yeah, a division takes, you know, 10,000 rifles or something, because that's sort of a smallish division is sort of 10,000 men, you know, there's 10,000 rifles, and you just got to produce it. There may be reasons in game logic mechanics that you don't want to have too large of numbers, fine, but then it shouldn't, you know, balance that out. Okay. But am I overproducing anything in this tree to the extent that I'm producing too many factories for artillery? Now, I got burned before with artillery, and maybe I'm overdoing that now as I'm looking at this. Let's look at numbers of artillery. Anti-tank, anti-air, heavy artillery 500, more heavy artillery too. Oh, that's heavy anti-air. Okay, we got too much heavy anti-air, I think. Artillery 2000. We probably got too much artillery, but I got burned with this mod my first playthrough and not having enough artillery and needing more other stuff. Okay, so in proportion with everything else, am I doing too few factories for air production, because we only have 3 types of aircraft in production? Maybe, but I don't think I am. And so unless this represents 300 aircraft a month, or even, well, maybe 30 aircraft, you know, if the whole game is designed that 1 equals 10, well, okay, 30 fighters a month, okay, yeah. Maybe, but other aircraft numbers in the game seem to be much more 1-for-1. It seems to me, and again, I don't know if World Ablaze has tweaked this out, but the numbers produced seem to be a hell of a lot more. So this just seems ridiculously low to me. Whether it's economic fatigue or just the grinding up of getting proficiently at your production of aircraft. And I do like the idea that you can't instantly jump between things, but yeah, it seems a bit long-term grindy, if you will. My take on it. I know I'm complaining a lot, but hey, I'm a mod developer, so I always look at it, how would I do it differently? Oh, good. We took this province. Combined Arms Warfare, good. You come up here, because we don't want to attack across river. Okay, so now we've got our 2. Light combat width. Photon card attack breakthrough something. Yeah, I know about the alt tab, but I'm still just sort of looking down through. Organization, yeah, that's nice. Yeah, for tanks, breakthrough, hard attack, soft attack, conquer. I think this is the best way to go. For tanks. What? We got 2 out of 3 now. Oh, no, we don't. Sorry, no, we don't. We still haven't done this one. Ah, I wasn't even looking up there. Okay, I just presumed that. Oh, yeah. No, and I don't mean... and I am complaining, but I don't mean this to be a... this is bad, don't play it kind of thing. This isn't me trying... Oh, I don't need a rocket scientist. For Italy, fuck that. I don't care about that. Manpower. Training time, base support. Okay, let's see about getting some military high command. Division recovery. You know, we got a lot of infantry. We do sort of want to go on some offensive and not be purely defensive, though that may be a mistake. Division recovery rate is good for defensive because if you get pushed out of the line and fall back, you can start sending them back into the line faster, better. And Italy might be a nation that you should just play on the defensive, might be, but I'm not going to go that pessimistic a route. So we will look for better infantry attack and defense. Yes, so we'll put him in charge. I'm just looking. We have a huge amount of political power. Yeah, it does matter for our war in Spain right now, but beyond that. Not necessarily. Go away. I hate little pop-ups from, maybe there's a way to get rid of them from Steam telling me what my friends are playing right now. And I get that it's the idea that, oh, this is all the same. These aren't hierarchical. Okay. Oh, here, this staff. Here, general staff. Okay. Recovery rate, division, defense. Okay, well, Italy's not going to be fast on its speed, so we're going to ignore that. Morale, recovery rate, yeah, good. Defense. Theorist. Let's go for that. Air warfare. We'll come to those in a moment. Now with... Oh, so we can have multiples of these. Okay, so... Bono or Bagdalio? Bagdalio would pick just because I... But we'll allow recovery rate as well here. And we don't have enough to continue. Okay, cool. And it sometimes can seem that I'm just sort of bitching about things and not really liking them. But that's really not the case. Okay, you've made it all the way up to there. You there. You come to here. You come to here at least. You come up to there. Make sure we get... Hello, Sebastian. How you doing? Okay, guys, I think it's time to end this episode. Not the live stream, but the episode. So I want to thank you all for watching. Thanks for liking the videos. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Love to see you around more often. See you next time.